Guys, what is this? This is crazy. This is crazy. How does our gear fetishism get the best of us? Yes, this is the Monomachine, the thing that Sophie famously used. $4,000. This is crazy. Stop buying these. They're not going to make you sound like Sophie. Take a look at this. Look, 2018. These are selling for nothing. No people didn't want these. Yeah, we're not even going to do synthesis today. We are just going to do effects. That's all we need. First things first, have an operator. You don't have to use operator. You can use wavetable. You can use whatever you want. All I'm doing with this is I've just have the oscillator and I've changed it to square saw. Do saw wave. Okay, so this is what it sounds like. Sounds amazing. So we are going to loop that, and we are going to throw on the Phaser Flanger. This is all we need. To make all of this sound a little bit better, we are just going to start by beefing it up straight from the start by using an amp on blues mode, change the output to dual. So I want to talk to you about Phaser Flanger. Normally I would say, let's go feedback all the way up, amount all the way up, rate all the way up, let's go crazy with it. And we will do that. But I just want to explain exactly what's going on here. This amount knob is controlling an LFO, right? So you see how these are moving back and forth, right? That is being controlled by the rate here, right? And the amount as well. Not like the amount of the whole effect. That is really our feedback. So don't feel like you're not a real one if you have the amount down. We just want to keep that feedback up. So let's start to listen. Okay, already sounding pretty cool. So I'm just turn this down, turn this up a bit. We have our feedback. Sounding decent. Now all we got to do is just bump our notches. And we're just going to keep that at 42 for like the whole time. There we go. And turn the center up. Amazing. Amazing. Right, we really go up with the feedback. And always just try this invert. See if it sounds different. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. But there we go. I mean, honestly, that's kind of the lead from face shopping. Where do we go from here? How can we start to get a bit crazier with it? We have our notches, which is like how many little EQ peaks there is, right? Like if you kind of look at this, right? It's like how many of those little spikes we have. Okay, so now let's start to go really crazy with the feedback and with the LFO. So I bumped up the feedback before. You saw we get these really great sounds. Let's start to see what happens. We keep these kind of low, almost get these like metallic noises. So good. But now let's start to bump them up. Amazing stuff. You can always try messing with the spread and blend. I don't really do that often, but yeah, sometimes they make a difference. Okay, now, for those curious amongst you, you may be thinking, wait a sec, like where is the LFO? What is the LFO? Like what's going on with that? So we got to go big boy mode and click this triangle over here. And then here we go. So this section here, this is not an extra LFO. This is not the LFO2. I know it gets confusing. LFO2 is just in here. There's no picture of it. This is the main LFO that we're controlling with this frequency, right? So how fast it cycles back and forth, and the amount, how deep it is, how much it's moving those peaks back and forth, right? So yeah, let's start to mess with it. We can get some really crazy stuff. So we're on this triangle wave. That's the default. You can change it to sine, right? Right? But we are good people who want to make crazy sounds. So of course we're going to go to random sample and hold first. Oh, it's amazing. There we go. There we go, team. That's what we love to see. It's like music to my ears. It's like music to my ears. And let's also try just the other random. That one's so good. It's kind of more smooth between them. Oh. Use this duty cycle, which will like change the form of the wave. And then if you don't want them, if you just want a little bit of width from the stereo, but you don't want them like going in totally different directions, we can pull back the phase, right? Not all the way, we still want a little width, but something like that, right? Now it sounds a little more coherent, or like one sound. I love Saw Up too. Do some really fun stuff with this. Especially get it nice and slow. Got these big rises. Oh yeah, that is great. Yeah, so mess around with these. They have all these triangle ones, which like honestly might be too crazy for me. Like, I mean, that sounds kind of good actually, but once you really get up there. If you want to tame this a little, if you want to get more of these like individual hits rather than just this kind of like sound design insanity, they do have this envelope follower. So basically like it's going to change how much of the effect there is based on how loud the signal is. So you have something kind of sharp like this, right? When it hits, it's going to kind of duck it out a little. So let's mess with that a bit. Oh, yeah. Come on. And always check polarity, check inversion. I mean, yeah, it's insane. So, okay. Amazing. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. And then the final thing, this is for going like truly crazy mode. I don't quite like get entirely how this works, but there is this second LFO here, and you can mix that in with this LFO. It's not like two different LFOs, like you're mixing it in with this original one, I think. Let's mess with this. Let's go back to random. Okay, so let's do that, and then let's mix this in. Okay, whoa. That is different than I was expecting. And let's mess with the rate. Oh yeah, there we go. I mean, I don't really know what's going on here, I'll be honest. But it's so crazy. I'm just going to keep messing with this a little bit and see what we can get. And again, if you're wondering how to use any of this stuff, I'll show you some really useful stuff in a sec. But again, just my basic workflow for this would be to create another audio track, change it from external in to resampling, right? And then you're going to hit this red button to record, right? And then you can just go over here and hit and just hit record. And now you can double click on your original track and go in here and change stuff and mess around. So then I would go through this clip and, you know, pick out the bits that you like, and you can use those. And remember, if you have it on loop, it might look like you're like overwriting, but you are not, right? You can just drag this back out. Now, for those of you who are wanting, you're like, this is cool, wanting maybe something a little more, not tame, but a little more usable, like some distinct sounds. Let's talk about that. So first thing I'm going to do is just get an 808 snare here, and I'm going to turn these off. So here's what this snare sounds like. Right, very simple. So First thing that's super fun, making some sort of metallic percussion, right? So you can see here, I have the feedback all the way up, and then frequency and amount are kind of on the lower end, right? I'm gonna really turn them down. And then of course we wanna have our amp on blues mode again. Yeah, there we go. So you can kind of use center to control like how the frequency of the metallic thing. So that is a super fun way to get metallic percussion. Don't just have to use grain delay. And you can also do this with hats and get some really fun like moving metallic hats. Oh my God, that's a bit fast. Okay. Right? So turn the frequency down. I love that. I love that. I love that. Right? You can turn the frequency up a bit if you want a little bit more movement. So yeah, another great element to add to some percussion. Okay, now let's get to 808s. This is what people are always wanting to know about, Sophie 808, etc. Well, here, I'm going to go on my little diatribe first, which is about the Sophie 808 sort of stuff. So I'm going to mute this layer, and I just have an 808 here, right? If you want a Sophie 808, just throw in an amp on blues mode with an 808. That's kind of it. If you go and listen to her 808s, they are impactful, full of sub, not a ton of high end. But the reason in your head you're like, wait a sec, no, that's not true, is because there are often these other layers on top of things that are doing stuff differently. We are going to try and make kind of one of these layers. So here I, again, just have an operator that is just on a saw wave. And then we've got Phaser Flanger, have my amount and my feedback up a bit here, using this kind of saw up to get that kind of moving. And then on the amp, I've turned the dry wet down a little. Okay, so let me turn this up a little. Sort of fun layers and bring them back in with our 808. Right, let's try our saw. Yeah, it's kind of fun. So yeah, great way to get some fun layers in there. And then our final thing is just put this on like all your drums together. So I'm just using a drum rack. I have this pretty basic kick and snare pattern, and so this just sounds like this. Okay, great. And honestly, I mean, this will just sound great with an amp on blues mode. Turn it down a little. I've really been enjoying doing like rock mode, but with the dry wet at like 15, 10, 5, 10, 15%. And we are gonna turn on our Phaser Flanger again. And this time I have everything kind of bumped up over here, but I'm also using our envelope follower, right? I'll turn down the attack, turn up the release. Yeah, there we go. Bring the frequency up a little. Get some nice kind of interesting little fill moments in the middle. Dry wet. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed. Honestly, I hope you can see there's so much to do just with Phaser Flanger here. Try putting in different types of input, different sounds. You'll get radically different things based on the sounds you are putting in. Add a little amp. Add some reverb after this for sounds where it's appropriate. Yeah, there is truly so much of a world of things to explore here. And always let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.